Perspective is an important concept in most forms of visual arts, from paintings to sketches to movies. When we watch a film, one of the measures of realism we use is perspective. So, what does perspective mean here? In real life, when we look at a group of objects, say some lamps, tables, and a wall with windows, not everything is of an equal distance from us. Consequently, objects further away appear smaller than objects closer to us. But a more important characteristic of perspective is the behavior of parallel lines. Parallel lines in Euclidean geometry are to never intersect with one another. But in a scene with perspective, like in real life, they do appear to intersect. In this scene, we know the height of the wall stays constant, and so these two parallel lines are always of equal distance from each other. But as we extend them, we see they meet at a point. Extending all lines that are meant to be parallel with one another, we observe they all converge at a single point. This point is the vanishing point, and the scene is what we call a one-point perspective. This vanishing point lies on the horizon line of the scene. One-point perspective is not the only form. We also have 2- and 3-point perspectives. Here, we only look at 1- and 2-point perspectives. 2-point perspective is mainly, instead of having one, we have 2 vanishing points. Let us see how that looks. We start by choosing our horizon line and 2 vanishing points. In 1-point perspective, we had parallel lines in only 1 out of 3 of our axes converging, and this was the axis going towards or away from the viewer of the screen. Now we have parallel lines in 2 out of our 3 axes that converge to vanishing points. Drawing a few parallel lines, we can see what this means. This scene is then from a 2-point perspective. Now, why may perspective be important in filmmaking? Filmmakers use perspective to make us focus on something or emphasize some element in the scene. This element could be an object or even some action or emotion within the scene, as we will see later. Today we're going to look at 3 films by British-American film director, producer, and screenwriter Christopher Nolan. Nolan is a renowned director, and his films usually work with themes of time, memory, and identity, concepts that require a high level of thinking to comprehend. As a result, we can try to understand how Nolan uses perspective in his films to help explain such related concepts. The films we look at are Interstellar, Dunkirk, and Inception. Interstellar is a film that deals with the concept of space travel and time dilation. Dunkirk deals with the portrayal of war from the perspective of various people, while Inception deals with concepts of memory and dreams. We'll first delve into 1-point perspective and then 2-point perspective, investigating into how Nolan uses each to deliver different messages. Nolan uses a lot of 1-point perspective scenes in his films. We can tell these scenes are 1-point perspective since all parallel lines present converge towards a single vanishing point. Notice how our attention is drawn towards the center, where the main action or characters are. Hence, perspective is being used here to guide our eyes when watching the movie. It is also interesting to note that they all contain a level of symmetry of the left and the right side of the frame. But this is not the only way a 1-point perspective is used, as we shall see later. Nolan uses a 1-point perspective to give a sense of traveling our destination. In the scenes here, we see the vanishing point line offset from the center and sometimes even outside the frame. The vanishing point is clearly marked by the straight lines or paths and roads here that lead to it. Moreover, the scenes are not symmetric, with the vanishing point lying on one side of the frame, with the actors or other objects lying on the other side. Therefore, we're able to get an indication of the characters moving towards this vanishing point at the same time our eyes do. Nolan's films also showcase 2-point perspectives. Even though a 2-point perspective is less widely used than a 1-point, there are situations where this makes sense. For these scenes, we do have a main object or characters at the center of the frame. However, the two-point perspective is used to contrast the central element with the surrounding environment that they exist in. Using one point in these cases would have emphasized the central element, but that would miss out on the relation of it to the rest of the scene. This contrast creates a sense where the central element lies within a significantly large and complicated environment. Perspective plays an important role in portraying characters and elements within a scene, and also help us contrast them with other objects within the film. In this way, perspective is a tool useful in many visual art forms. Furthermore, there are also applications of perspective that influences motion or animated techniques too. Perspective, therefore, is a crucial tool available to filmmakers.